Thomas is in behind them here. It's Murray, Johnny Murray! And Hope Powell is in and has equalised within a minute. And it's Hope Powell's second goal. And Harper chasing here, the goalkeeper's come. A chance for Louise Thomas. 2-2. And the space here for Murray, and she's onside. Harper in the centre, and McGuigan. Jill Thomas holds aloft the cup.
Last year's Women's FA Cup final brought women's football very much to the public's attention. Liverpool's Leasowe Pacific won it, and many of the same faces are back again this year to defend their trophy. Now, in the next 4 weeks, we'll be following the tournament from its quarter-final stages right up until the final, and taking a look and talking to some of the people and the characters who are part of the women's scene. On the international front, we'll be following England's international campaign, their European qualifying match against Belgium, and also we'll be tracing the history, the evolution and development of the women's game. And we'll tackle some of the issues which affect women who are playing what's considered a man's game in a man's world.
That hasn't always been the case. Immediately after the First World War, women's football was a massive spectator sport, eclipsing the men's game in popularity. Exeter businessman David Williamson has written a history of women's football, tracing its origins even further back in time.
It was here, in 1746, that Bonnie Prince Charlie was defeated at the Battle of Culloden. But even before that time, a conflict of a very different nature was taking place on a regular basis in these fields outside Inverness. The contest between the married and single women of the district was, in fact, a very crude form of a game we would all recognise today, football. And from such humble beginnings, the game did eventually catch on. By late Victorian times, there had been some attempts by pupils of girls' schools and colleges to play football, but this was frowned upon most severely, in spite of the example set by such pioneers as Londoner Nettie Honeyball, captain of the British Ladies in 1894. It took the outbreak of the First World War to herald a new role for women in society. It also heralded a fresh attitude to women's sport. Football teams sprang up everywhere, many being formed in the factories that fed the war machine. And it was the Lancashire town of Preston, and in particular this factory behind me, that was to become the centre of early women's football. For in 1917, the girls who worked within this factory formed a football team that was to dominate both this country and abroad, Dick Kerr's Ladies. Travelling all over Britain, the continent and the USA, Dick Kerr's Ladies displayed their superior skills, made possible through hard work and practice at their Ashton Park training ground in Preston. Wherever they played, thousands turned out to watch. Alice Stanley, now 91 years old, remembers those heady days very well.
Well, I was working at the munition works during the First World War, and we were asked to get this team up. We were not having a knockout competition, so I was asked to get this team up. But I wasn't interested then, because I thought Mother wouldn't approve of it.
Why wouldn't she approve of it?
Well, of course, you know, Victorian, she didn't like the idea of ladies playing football. And I played without her knowing. And I also played in a pair of boots that she just bought me, and I ruined them.
Now, when you actually became established within the Dick Kerr setup, what kind of crowds were you attracting? What kind of games were you playing?
Oh, in front of all numbers, because it depended which ground, but they were always packed.
Goodison Park, Everton, Boxing Day 1920. And a match between Dick Kerr's and St Helens Ladies. 53,000 people were crammed into the ground on that day, with at least 10,000 left outside. Not surprisingly, this figure has never been beaten for a women's football match in this country.
We played in France and Belfast, in Scotland, 5 games in Scotland. Isle of Man, we went via Canada to America, and we played 4 matches there. We played against men. We didn't know that we were playing against men when we went, until we got there.
Women's football had become the focus of a great deal of attention, which was not to everyone's liking. Behind the scenes, storm clouds were brewing. On December the 6th, 1921, here at 42 Russell Square, home of the Football Association, a momentous decision was made that was to change the course of women's football forever. Complaints having been made as to football being played by women, Council feel impelled to express their strong opinion that the game of football is quite unsuitable for females and ought not to be encouraged. The Council are further of opinion that an excessive proportion of the receipts absorbed in expenses and an inadequate percentage devoted to charitable objects. For these reasons, the Council requests the clubs belonging to the association refuse the use of their grounds for such matches.
I think we were getting better crowds than the men were getting, and making more money for charity, and they didn't like it.
More on the history of the women's game later, but moving forward in time now to this year's Women's FA Cup competition, the quarter-final draw is as follows. District Line from London versus St Helens. Arsenal face last year's runners-up Friends of Fulham. Doncaster Bells play cup holders Leeds. Game went into rapid decline. Dick Kerr's 11 continued to play, but perhaps inevitably, as the men's game re-established itself, women's football all but died. For those who persevered, their efforts were usually presented by the media as a touch of light-hearted relief for serious sports fans, and were ultimately dismissed in patronising fashion.
Come on there, shoot. But Margaret, the goalie, is well on the job. Perhaps you know a more ladylike word than dribbling for this. We don't.
It was raining too at Bolton, where our sports team looked in on the season's best in women's international football. Bolton ladies started in white shirts, Edinburgh in blue, but after a few brisk exchanges, all 22 of them were getting mud pack treatment as well as soccer. And the audience, as if you couldn't guess, were nearly all men. Result was England 7 goals, Scotland 1. A victory largely due to England's goalkeeper, who just wouldn't let anything get past her.
Manchester. Blinkers United, a Glamour Girls 11, prepared for their charity football match against an all-stars team. Captain of the shapely lineup was Eve Harrelstead, former girlfriend of soccer star George Best, who is in the showbiz side. With Best in goal, the lassies got some shooting practice while Mike Summerby donned a disguise. The first attempt came from the ladies, but the All-Stars regained possession and cut a dash through the female defence, only to find that George Best had changed sides.
In 1967, Pat Gregory was a sports secretary with the Sunday Telegraph. She was also a football fan, so much so that she formed her own women's team. She was instrumental in the formation of the Women's Football Association, which wasn't officially ratified until 1969.
There was a great deal of opposition. It was just not something that girls and women were supposed to do. Given all the progress that women had made, even since the war, football still was not something that a lot of people considered suitable for girls. But we knew that we could do it, and if the girls wanted to, then they were determined enough.
The question of mixed football was a different story, even for children. In 1978, 11-year-old Nottinghamshire schoolgirl Teresa Bennett took the Football Association to court for sexual discrimination. They had banned her from playing with boys in her village team.
We're disgusted about the whole situation. If we were talking about women playing in a men's league, that might well be a different matter. But what we're talking about here is an 11-year-old girl who's good. What we're trying to bring out is that she's a good, aggressive player, well able to take care of herself, and there are no problems.
It's just silly. Don't know what to think about them.
Supported by the Equal Opportunities Commission, which saw it as a test case, Teresa went to court. The case became a celebrated affair, generating huge amounts of publicity, both good and bad. Teresa won and was awarded £250 for what was described as a loss of opportunity and injury to her feelings. Shortly afterwards, however, the FA appealed against the court's ruling and overturned its decision. Mixed football is still an exemption to the Sex Discrimination Act. For Teresa, now an ambulance driver, she admits that the court's ruling had profound effects upon her.
I mean, at the age of 11, 12, you don't want someone writing you a nasty letter, and it made me very, very bitter that I was receiving such hate mail. I think it's made me self-conscious from that early age, and it's only taken me until I was 15, 16 to really come out of my shell. You don't know what you've done wrong. All you want to do is play football, and there's someone saying you can't, and then the big wigs in London saying you're not capable of doing it, and then they're going into all your medical grounds. You just feel, I don't know, you feel like the whole world's against you just because a few people are.
Ironically, there are now opportunities for schoolgirls to become YTS trainees with one of the biggest clubs in Britain, Arsenal, a subject we'll return to at a later date. Now our third...
Welcome back. Will you join us at the Bellevue ground, home to Doncaster Rovers, for our third quarter-final. It features last year's cup holders, Leasowe Pacific from Liverpool, and the team currently rated as the best in the country, Doncaster Bells. The Bells have definitely got something to prove today. It's a matter of revenge, for it was at this time last year that Leasowe Pacific put them out of the cup.
No fewer than 7 internationals in the Doncaster lineup, beginning with Tracy Davidson in goal. At number 2, Julie Chipchase. 3, Louise Ride, 2 Cup winners' medals already in her career. 4 is Jackie Sherrard. 5, Lorraine Hunt. 6, Michelle Jackson. 7, Joanne Broadhurst. Gillian Coulthard, with 45 England caps, wears number 8. 9, Karen Walker. 10 is Gail Borman, a Cup winners' medal for her back in 1988, and 11, Karen Skilcorn. This is the Leasowe Pacific lineup. Liz Stewart in goal. Diane Coughlin, number 2. At 3, Jill Anson. 4, Joy McQuiggan, who scored the winning goal in last year's Cup final. At 5, Maureen Malland. 6 is Deborah Faulkner. 7, Barbara Fletcher. Kathy Gore wears number 8. Maria Stanton, number 9. At 10, Welsh international Louise Thomas, and 11, Jan Murray. A very experienced Leasowe lineup this, but so too the Doncaster Bells, and they really are out for revenge here, having lost in the quarter-final on their own ground last season. Doncaster Bells in the blue strip and immediately on the attack here with Broadhurst. Leasowe Pacific in the red and white. Billy Jackson, manager of Leasowe, and the free kick taken by Deborah Faulkner. Well, alongside me here, England international Sue Law. This is going to be a real meeting of 2 of the big clubs in women's football, Sue.
Yes, it is. I've chatted with players from both sides, and there's no love lost between these 2 teams, I can tell you.
That's certainly going to give us the added edge that this match needed. And there's a crowd here who are very, very keen for their respective teams to win. Doncaster, one of the most successful teams in the history of women's football. They've won the Cup itself no fewer than 3 times. And if you count their local and regional successes, they have got a staggering 69 trophies in their 21-year history. Throw in then to Doncaster, taken by Louise Ride. And a neat little turn as well. The ball only half cleared, and Coulthard coming in very strongly, and she's won that well, and Gillian Coulthard has given Doncaster an early lead. A marvellous start for the home team, and really determined play there by Coulthard, Sue.
Yep, she scored one like this in the last round against Millwall. She's absolutely lethal in front of goal.
So the cup holders, Leasowe, a goal down here, and they've made a very nervous start indeed. And a chance for Chip Chase to put them under more pressure in the middle. Borman is there, and the ball just deflected behind for a corner. Gail Borman has provided a lot of problems for Leasowe here. And Doncaster have made a very positive start, and they've got another goal. Bundled in on the far post, and it looks as though it was Karen Skilcorn who got the final touch. But Liz Stewart, the Leasowe goalkeeper, really must be unhappy there, Sue.
I think, Alan, there's a suspicion of a handball there with Walker coming in, although Skilcorn's claiming it.
So Doncaster Bells in the blue, leading the cup holders, Leasowe Pacific, by 2-0 here. Mallon, under pressure from Borman, did well to get it clear, but not clear enough. Louise Wright keeping it in play on that far side. Coulthard involved as ever in midfield. And really the possession almost entirely with the home team. They must be very pleased with the way they've started here.
They're very professional side, Doncaster. They come out with the approach that they're going to do a job here, and they're very cool on the ball.
Mallon half clear, and they just cannot get out of their own half at the moment here, Leasowe. All the pressure from Doncaster. Broadhurst turning it forward. Taken well again by Walker, but look at the time she was allowed to turn on the ball then. And Coulthard, as ever, providing the problems. Well played by Sherrard. And again, Stewart just managed to keep it out, and Mallon in the end thumped it behind. Sherrard stays forward for the corner. And again, Mallon has to head it clear. Back in it comes from Broadhurst. Oh, and the shot striking the bar from Sherrard, who'd stayed forward from the previous corner at Skilcorn, but it was Sherrard, I think, who had the shot against the crossbar. And they'll certainly be grateful to hear the half-time whistle. Leasowe, they've had an awful first half here. 2-0 down.
They're certainly not used to this standard of opposition in the North West League. They tend to run away with everything.
And here again, in midfield, Coulthard has really dominated that particular area of the field. Well won back, though, by Anson for Leasowe, but they just can't keep possession long enough. And Joanne Broadhurst breaking clear on the right here, waiting for support to arrive. It wasn't the best cross, but it wasn't the best piece of defending either, and Doncaster have yet another corner.
I have to say, Alan, that it's down to Coulthard's industry all the time. She's working so hard in that midfield.
Corner by Broadhurst, and Borman is in there, and it's gone in, it's 3. Gail Borman scores the 3rd goal just before half-time for Doncaster.
It's Karen Walker with the flick on there. She's very unorthodox and not afraid to throw herself around in that box. And Borman will be pleased to put that one away.
Keep them going forward.
Paul Edmonds issues the final instructions as we reach the dying seconds, and there indeed is the half-time whistle, and a marvellous half for Doncaster Bells, who lead the cup holders Leasowe Pacific by 3-0 at half-time.
Every single ball get played like that. And what I'm saying is, when you get it, do something easy, just like that. But I don't think we can do it if we play football that we do week in and week out. All they've done is wank up in the air.
They're very slow. Very slow. Some of you don't want to even know. It's like, you've got to come in. If you don't get the ball, you've got to come and look for it. Right? You can't give it to you all the time, so you've got to work with yours and come and look for it. And that's everybody.
Well, some heated words in the Leasowe Pacific dressing room at half-time. 3-0 down. It looks a hopeless situation. And with many other teams, you'd say the game has already slipped by them. But Leasowe are the cup holders and the runners-up, of course, the season before that. And they're not going to let their grip on this trophy go lightly here. You can expect the Merseyside team in the red shirts to really give it a go in the second half. But Doncaster's confidence is so high.
And Leasowe were 1-0 down in the quarter-final away to Doncaster last year. They're behind again here, but they've got the wind in their favour, and we'll have to see what they can do with it.
Allen using the win to good effect then, finding Louise Thomas up front, but the service to the front players has been poor really for Leasowe. That was one of the points they were making in very decisive fashion in the dressing room at half-time. Fletcher turning it forward, a difficult ball for the defenders to judge. But out comes Tracy Davidson, who hasn't been terribly bothered really, the England international with 6 caps.
Davidson's one of the most inspirational teammates you could want to play alongside.
So, Doncaster get moving forward again with Borman, and that's a lovely little ball from Borman to Coulthard, and Coulthard taking on the defender here, and support arriving from Sherrard, and she's timed her run perfectly, yes! Jackie Sherrard makes it 4-0 to Doncaster. What a good goal, Sue.
Gillian Coulthard again really involved there. She did all the hard work and just set Sherrard up for an easy side foot.
So Doncaster with a 4-goal lead. Surely even against the gritty Merseysiders, the cup holders, that is an insurmountable obstacle. And Sherrard, who scored that 4th goal, making a strong run again here. Support arriving on the inside from Louise Ride, the fullback. And although the shot was well wide of target, it was good support play by Louise Ride, who's won 2 Cup winners' medals with the team before.
You can equate them with the Liverpools of this world. They're so good.
And suddenly Murray gets the eye of an opening, and how did Ride keep that one out? Jan Murray finding Louise Ride in the best possible place as far as Doncaster were concerned, but the worst possible place for her. That was on its way into the net. Look how close it was. Great defending by Ride.
It's terrific, wasn't it?
Ride with the throw then. Doncaster still pressing forward, even though we're in the closing stages of this game. And Bagley, the substitute, with a good ball into the middle. And there's Broadhurst. She scored again. And that's a 5th. Joanne Broadhurst has made it 5 for Doncaster. And Leasowe are in tatters.
I think the slow motion shows exactly how good that goal was. Broadhurst is a very stylish player. She's got a lot of skill.
What an accomplished performance this has been then. And Leasowe on the attack know that they're really going through the motions now. The final whistle only seconds away. And it's going to be a famous victory for the Doncaster Bells by 5-0. They're through to the semi-finals. Coulthard, such an influence for them in midfield today. But really, Leasowe must know that they didn't play. And the cup holders have been beaten by a side that attacked this game with real positive football, an adventurous approach right from the off. They scored early on and dominated from start to finish.
After last year's, we were determined to have revenge sort of thing, you know. We thought we should have won last year, but we didn't. All credit to Leasowe, you know, they did well. But this year we were out to prove that we could do it.
There's a few players out there never give the performance what they have been given all season, especially in our own league. They can perform a lot better. I'm disappointed in them, and I think they'd be disappointed in themselves if they look at themselves at the performance. We'll have a few drinks to drown our sorrows, but we'll still be happy. There's always next year, and we'll be back next year.
3 of the 4 semi-finalists are now known: Doncaster Bells, Friends of Fulham and Preston Rangers. The one remaining place will go either to London's District Line or to St Helens. The St Helens outfit features a rarity in women's football, a woman manager, a real manageress.
You what? You've just been on telly in front of 7 million people, you pillar. Got to be worth at least a monkey.
Well done, lads. Great performance. Best Sunday I've spent in ages.
You get the freers, man. Any news and war bonuses?
Yes, there's a Football League man here, actually. And apparently the PFA get 10% of the television fee.
And what about us?
You are entitled to extra payment of £10.50.
Oh. £10.50? Even the hot dog sellers be getting more than that.
I'm sorry. I don't make the rules.
Chris Slater is not a fictional character. A community policewoman, part of her job includes coaching football to schoolgirls in the St Helens area. It's the kind of introduction to the game which Chris never had.
I think probably round about the age 5 or 6. I can remember so far that playing football in the street with the lads. I thought it was great, absolutely. Because I was just one of them, really, you know, like little Tom lad. It was smashing. I was accepted just like another person, really. There you are. We weren't allowed to play in the school team. It was just banned completely. Which upset. Oh, I was really upset. Really upset.
You start off like this.
And it did really upset me because I wasn't allowed to do that, and I couldn't see anything wrong. And I think that was hard to understand at that age. And I think that, say, under 12, I can't see any reason why that the girls can't play in football with the lads.
Yes, well done. Don't touch it with your hands. Yeah, oh, magic.
No, I was mainly a rugby league supporter, believe it or not, with the St Helens Rugby League Football Club, because my mum especially was a real avid supporter of the Saints. We used to go everywhere. And she was also a Man United supporter, so obviously I supported Man United. I remember the European Cup final when they beat Benfica at Wembley. Remember that. Remember the families sitting in the lounge and shouting and jumping up and down.
In 1976, Chris founded the St Helens women's football team. She only recently retired from playing in the team, having played in 2 women's FA Cup finals.
First class as a manager, brilliant. I've played football before for another team, but this is just a different league altogether. She's there for you when you want her. She trains you hard. She gives you a good going over, keeps us fit. Women's soccer's here. No, she is. Women's soccer in this area.
Match day, she gets really excited. And there isn't a player on the pitch that doesn't take some stick off her. But she's totally involved. I mean, that's the good thing about her.
Question 24. What was the name of Minnie Caldwell's cat?
What did you say? The cup matches have been really special. Mind you, we spent a lot of time travelling away. And I think being away and being together has certainly helped.
This year St Helens may not be rated as the favourites, but there's no doubt that the real characters in their side will enjoy their cup run to the fullest.
Some of their players were fairly old, but looking around, they look fairly young to me and got a lot of energy. Let's see how much they got when they play the game.
And so the St Helens team take the field, and certainly theirs is an experienced side, a couple of 35-year-olds, a 36-year-old, a 30-year-old. But this season they brought through some new teenage talent as well, so a real mixture of youth and experience as District Line take the field, the biggest game they've ever played in. Julia Brattasani is in goal for them, Doreen Walker at 2, Gloria Morgan, number 3. 4 is Angela Pack. 5, Liz Mordaunt. Brenda Peters is 6. Amy Bruce, 7. Siobhan Melia wears number 8. At 9, Chris Buck, the veteran of the side, at 31. The captain, Jan Mooney, at number 10. Julia Conn wears 11. Now the St Helens team. Sandra Moore in goal. Number 2 is Karen Cummings. 3, Anne Harkins. At 4, Pat McGrail. The skipper, Chris Coyle, at number 5. Karen Dolby wears number 6. Then Julie Price at number 7. 17-year-old Lisa Scattergood wears number 8. Number 9, the 18-year-old Shirley Oakford, The oldest player in the team, 36-year-old Barbara Nodwell, number 10, and number 11 for St Helens is Leanne Taylor. St Helens' very experienced team, as Chris Slater guides them, hopefully, towards another semi-final appearance. District line in the blue, remember. St Helens in the red jerseys and black shorts. Harkins clears upfield for them, and a bit of a mistake then by Morgan. But she can atone for it straight away, although she's really under pressure here. Price attacking down the right-hand side. Bratasani with an easy save. Good play by Mordaunt. She survived the first two tackles. And a decent little ball as well.
Get out of each other's way, you pair of
And certainly Chris Slater doesn't believe in keeping her views to herself on the bench. That's a good ball forward, and Oakford is onside here. She took too much time, and Morgan back to clear. Oh, that's a terrible mistake. Oakford surely must score. Oh, how did she miss that? It was Angela Pack who got across to clear. Good defensive work by her, following a mistake by her teammate Gloria Morgan. Price's little back header, and Scattergood comes in to score. St Helens are in front. Lisa Scattergood, the scorer. The ball knocked on the near post, and Lisa Scattergood with an easy goal. So district line in the blue, 1 goal down here. And the ball played forward by Harkins. Oakford under pressure from Morgan. Morgan really determined to win it back again here for district line. But she's only given it away, Nodwell, and she's seen Cummings in good space on the right. The shot by Cummings wide.
A load of bloody tarts.
Well, I'm glad Chris said that and not me. But she's not that satisfied with the way St Helens have played here, even though they are still leading by 1-0. But we're well into injury time. We've had 2 minutes of stoppage time as Bratasani kicks forward again. And Chris Buck chasing, but Sandra Moore out to collect. Oh no, she's lost it! And Chris Buck must equalise. What a setback that is for St Helens. Into injury time, and Chris Buck, the veteran of the team of 31, has made Slater devastated. The equalising goal. Well, Sandra Moore looked to have that safely in her hands, and Chris Buck couldn't believe her luck. It won't come any easier than that. 1-1. A lovely reaction from the scorer. Well, St Helens have really thrown their lead away here. But Price in possession for them. And the ball beaten behind for a corner. There's no time to take it. That means 1-1 the final score. Extra time.
You've got another 15 minutes each way now. Come on. Get him now, come on. Hey, come on, you made this great save. Now, come on. Concentrate, everybody. Come on, concentrate. Don't want to leave it. It's gone.
So the first period of extra time. And St Helens will really feel they threw it away in the 90 minutes. They held that lead for so long. The ball lobbed forward. And Karen Dolby onto it. Well, that's a good chance. And it's gone in. Now Slater can celebrate. Karen Dolby has given St Helens the lead again in the first minute of extra time. If that goal had just come a fraction or two earlier, it would have been all over in 90 minutes. And that's how the score remained. 2-1 to St Helens.
So St Helens go through to the semi-finals, and I'm sure that they had quite a fun journey on the road back north. Well, they will meet Doncaster Bells in their semi-final. In the other one, Preston Rangers play Friends of Fulham. Now, those matches will take place here in a couple of weeks' time at the Den, home of Millwall Football Club. That's Saturday, the 21st of April, and you'll be able to see recorded highlights the following day on Channel 4. Next week, however, we turn our attention to the international scene. It's England's vital European Championship qualifier against Belgium. I do hope that you'll join us. Until then, see you next week.
It's a useful through ball. Rushton playing it to Anyon. Oh, it's a fine effort by Debbie Anyon, and it's gone in. Preston have taken the lead.
And McAdams opened up the right-hand side, and Jacobs is through. And Jacobs makes it 4-0.
And Coulthard taking on the defender here, and support arriving from Sherrard, and she's timed her run perfectly. Yes. And Karen Dolby onto it. Well, that's a good chance, and it's gone in.
And you may be interested to know that